please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks for coming, everybody. Yeah,
Nice looking shoes.
at least the second half was a beautiful fall day.
Comfortable?
We need more of them.
Actually, they're like,
Roll call, please.
Sandy Kufelt,
Here.
Krista Regan,
Here.
Christy Hilton. Here. Artie Bryson.
Here.
Cindy Valentine here, Joanne Shirkey.
Here.
Mark Bouchard.
here.
All right, sounds like we're all here. I'll entertain a motion to pay some bills.
I'll make a motion to pay bills payable in the amount of $86,088.39.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Krista Regan,
Yes.
Christy Hilton.
Yes.
Artie Bryson.
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Sandy Kufelt.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Next, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda under unfinished business. I'd like to add the OHM agreement. And I believe it would be number 6 under new business, new hire full-time dispatcher Stephen Matthews.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Well, I'm ahead of, okay, never mind. Okay, next supervisor's report. Let's see, I've been doing this for about, probably over a year now, starting out with high water and stuff. I think we're at 577.45. Since our last meeting, it's been pretty flat. The Corps basically said from the middle of September to the middle of October, their estimate would drop 5 inches, and we might have seen 1 of those inches. So we got some pretty good rains, and so I hope the plugs pulled for a while and we get those 4 more inches here in the past week and a half. Excuse me, we haven't really, back on August 12th, we sent a letter, or I should say the county did on our behalf too, a letter to the governor to declare it a emergency. And this would allow us to access resources that are basically sitting idle. And they, like I say, she hasn't even responded yet. It would open up a lot of federal resources with the Army Corps of Engineers and some state resources. It's not gonna, it wouldn't cost the state very much money at all. And I don't know, I wish we would hear one thing or another. We have about 6 or 7 big projects that we could take advantage of. And the problem is, especially these projects with the Corps of Engineers, like to get them rolling for next year, we would have to start 2-3 months ago. We're already missing the boat on it, so to speak. And what I'm really disappointed in, back 8 months ago, I first started saying about, or asking the Corps, you have this sand that you're dredging out of the end of the cutoff channel in St. Clair River, head of Russell Island, they're there right now. And it's beautiful sand, and they take it to their state-owned landfill on Dickinson Island. I said, I'd like to get some of that dropped on Russell Island and Harson's Island, because it's a challenge getting sand there, and even possibly a load on the mainland for us. And the only way we could really do that if the governor would have signed this letter, and it's not gonna happen. So Governor Whitmore signed the damn letter.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I'm gonna say, sign the damn letter. We got more good news from Lansing with her new budget proposal. The PILT payment has been vetoed and taken out. PILT is payment in lieu of taxes. And if you don't know, over 50% of the property in Clay Township is owned by the state of Michigan. And they pay us, it's called a PILT payment. It's not like you or I pay, but it's still a lot of money to the township. And because even though the state owns all this property, we still have to, protect it for fire protection, police protection, everything else. And it's really frustrating because they don't even do any flood mitigation on their own property. Now we're not gonna get our PILT payment, it seems like. I haven't totaled that up to see what that amount is. Hopefully that will make it back in the budget negotiations, I don't know. Excuse me for coughing. Water departments extended and filled in 2 more fire hydrants on Harson's Island. They have 5 more to do. That's been going pretty good. I think the ones going forward are a little more challenging to do, but they've been banging them out. I've gotten 3 or 4 phone calls about the EEE virus and if the township's going to spray for mosquitoes. And that, it's not really a function of the township, it's more of the health department. And, I don't think the township has the power to just spray for mosquitoes, actually. And I talked to the health department, and they don't, there's no spraying. A mosquito will fly 300 feet. That's about the max. And they don't do any spraying more. What they do, if they find a case of this EEE, they'll spray a radius of 2.5 miles from that point. So, yeah, there's not going to be any spraying here. I don't like mosquitoes, but the problem is, too, with the spray, it's a very low dose of toxics, but it also kills bees. And I like bees, and everybody likes bees. We don't want to kill our bees, that's for sure. Sad to say, the splash pad is closed for the year. The water department did receive their new backhoe, and we're actually looking to sell the old one here very soon. We now own the property on Harson's Island that was slated for the Harson's Island Kayak and Nature Park. Still working on moving forward with the DNR Trust Fund grant, and then we'll be seeking money for development. So the township now owns that property. Met with IRA to hear their sewer interceptor issues, and we'll be talking about that a little bit tonight. But there's some questions still about who owns the interceptor and the lift station, and who actually is responsible for maintaining it going forward, and actually just maintaining it. I've been talking to our legal counsel a little bit about that. There'll be more on that coming down the pipe, not the sewer pipe, the pipe. We had a MAFF union mediation on October 3rd, and they filed a grievance against us because the union actually wanted the township to demote 2 sergeants, 2 women sergeants. They cited that they haven't fulfilled their education requirement in time. One was out for 8.5 months on medical, and the other one was couldn't do it last year for personal reasons. And these classes are only offered not very often. Anyhow, there's a class coming up, and they both agreed to get in the class. We didn't want to demote them, and the resolution was that they are going to not be demoted, but they will be acting sergeants. And then we had one lieutenant too, who fulfilled his obligation late, and he will also be acting lieutenant until April 17th, I believe. The command staff there is on a 2-year term. And so everyone's gonna have to reapply August 17th or beforehand. So That was the resolution of the mediation, instead of them being demoted. They get the same pay, same responsibility, authority, but they're just acting. Had a second meeting with the owner of Catch 22 along with Six Rivers Conservatory Agency, and I do have another meeting scheduled with the county about, see if we can get that project going forward. The Sturgeon Festival I thought was great. We had 30 boats in it, and they fished Saturday night. Yeah, I think they start at 7 and they go to 8 o'clock the next morning. 30 boats caught and released over 100 sturgeon in one night. That was pretty cool, and they were all happy. There was all kinds of events for kids and stuff during the day in the park, and it was very well attended. They had 2 sturgeons that we caught for display, and they were actually really friendly. They'd swim right up to the handlers, and people would pet them, and you grab them and everything. And then they had some brown trout for the kids to fish. There was all kinds of stuff. Cabela's was great showing for it. They had a little archery for kids and a shooting range for kids. There was all kinds of fun stuff going on. And then they had the beer tent for older kids, Friday and Saturday night. Our 4th annual Scarecrow Festival is October 26th in the park, and there is just a whole slew of stuff going on during the festival. Let's see, we have a Magic Man coming, we have Art in the Park. There is vendors available. Contact Cindy Babish on that. We're having a trunk display contest with the trunk or treat. Annual Scarecrow contest for family, businesses, and Muskrat All Sports, and mechanical robots, scarecrows. And we have first responders, and there's some competition already going here between the police and the firemen. Photo ops with Brenda Lewis, sponsored by the Randall Foundation. Lumberjack is sponsoring the Make and Take Scarecrow, so you can come and make a scarecrow and take it home with you. We have face painting, sponsored by Michigan Production Grinding. So we have a dog costume contest. And I can't see off the top of my head who it's at 2 o'clock, who the sponsor is for that. We have a 61-foot Toxic Rush obstacle course for the kids, and I'm gonna do it. I had a knee operation last year, I couldn't do it. And then Miss Babette is going to do her interactive dancing as she teaches everyone how to do the Thriller. That's a lot of fun, actually. All kinds of good stuff. So that is, when is it?
26th.
October 26th, Saturday before Halloween. So lots of fun. We have a DJ for it. Anyhow, all a good time, and we got a bunch of other rec programs going on. If you like it, if you're on Facebook, like Clay Township Parks and Rec, or get a hold of the office for any details. So thank you much. All right, that being said, do we have any public comments? Public comments? No public comments?
All these people and no public
I
comment.
know it. Hello, 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 hello. All right, moving right along to the consent agenda. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of the board meeting minutes of September 16th, 2019. Check reports, there are no notices. The communication was the Parks and Rec updates that you just reviewed, and there were no requests.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion or any questions?
One of the things we paid in between meetings was $2,732 for Alert All Corp. Can somebody refresh my memory what that's for? Alert All?
27,
That was,
yeah, the fire prevention for the kids.
Oh, for all the
Yeah,
kids.
we approved that,
Yep, thank you.
for the educational materials.
All
you
right.
guys are used to me putting that little BA next to it for board approved. I threw you for a loop this time. I apologize. We were running a little late doing the agenda. Because
Got it.
we were in mediation all day Thursday, so.
Yeah. All day.
all
She
day.
was just checking to see who would notice.
Just paying attention.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, any more discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We have the fire chief report. George, you have a friend with you today.
Good evening. I brought Scott from the American Red Cross. He has a little presentation he'd like to give to you folks. They have a program that they offer. It's to do with the smoke detectors, and they come into the homes and they install them and give them away. Scott?
Yeah, so I'm with the Red Cross. My position is the disaster program specialist, and I specialize in preparedness. But also we work with home fire campaigns, but I'll talk a little bit more about our preparedness program. So as you was mentioned, we do go out in the public and install smoke detectors. Since July 1st, we've installed 1,500 smoke detectors in the 4 counties: Wayne County, Macomb County, Oakland County, and St. Clair County. And so we offer 3 smoke detectors for free. We have different options of getting people's names. We do tabling events at like a community fair or, at a school parent-teacher conference. So we have people sign up that way. We also have a phone number where people call in. I also gave him some flyers that he'll probably pass out later for smoke detectors, and you guys could put it out in the community. But we have a volunteer team that comes out, speaks with them about how the 10-year smoke alarms work. And then also, we give them like a sheet of it's just basic home safety tips when it comes to fires, but don't leave the stove on, don't, just make sure you clean out your lint out of your dryer, the basic things like that. We also do we have a whiteboard where you can draw out your house map and then find safe ways of getting out. Then also create a meetup points. So if you have a family of 5, 3 children, 2 adults, they all meet at the same tree, maybe the tree out front. So that indicates that everyone's out of the house, and we kind of talk a little bit, stay out of the house once you're out. Don't go back in there for a pet or, a video game or even someone else in your family. So we kind of talk on those things like that. And then we also do a thing called pillowcase presentation. And the pillowcase started back for Hurricane Katrina. There was a high school student that created that thing, or created this pillowcase and put all the items that she needed, like a can of soup or a can opener, Uno cards, some type of activities, Band-Aids, like a small little first aid kit. So we go into schools and we talk to 2nd grade to 5th grade, and we talk to them about being preparedness for, we don't have to worry about hurricanes, but we may have a tornado that may come through, or, like a large power outage, or it's really cold or something like that, and we may lose power or something like that. So we talk that. And that's just kind of a good opportunity to kind of get the awareness starting young. And our goal is to, educate the students that day. And then hopefully when they get home, their parents ask what they do in school today. And they said, oh, the Red Cross came in and they talked about this, this, and that. And we do give them some handouts that they can bring in. And so it's just creating that awareness for that. And then I could touch on a couple other things that we do. We do assist with fires. So if a house has a fire, even if the insurance is going to help out, we do offer assistance. We like to get out there within the first 2 hours of getting notified. We are a volunteer-based organization. I think 90% of our staff is volunteer-based. So it's the fact of getting a team. This weekend was a crazy one for us. We had an apartment fire in Southgate. It was 90 units, and all the 90 units were displaced, even though it was two apartments that caught fire, but the whole place got shut down until they could figure it out. And so we did open up a shelter, so that's something that we do on that end. And then we did I think we had 15 home fires this weekend. It was just a weird weekend for us, but we were able to get every single one, and that was due to our volunteers just stepping up in a crisis like that and going out there and exploring and meeting like that. But we also assist the clients after they're done with that. So we may help them with disaster mental health services. So if they may be distraught, like an example, there was a kid that was about 14 years old, and this was a big shock for them. So I did contact one of our social work volunteers and followed up with them, and she's okay now, so that's good. We also help them get on the right path to get back to the place. If they need to rent or if they need to buy another home, we can kind of help them get along with that way. That all falls under long-term recovery. So do you guys have any questions about what Red Cross does? I think maybe a lot of people think about blood services or donating for a hurricane.
Do you have many volunteers here, or?
We have a couple volunteers that are out here. We have one in Marine City. We have a couple that live kind of in Lake Romeo. So we cover, like I said, the 4 counties, we cover that. So we do have to get out there.
So if someone wanted to volunteer,
Yep.
become a volunteer, they, contact you maybe through our chief, or?
Yeah, well, I can give a couple business cards, but yeah, if you could contact me if you're interested in volunteering. And we have different roles of volunteers. We have volunteers that go out and install smoke detectors, or they may go to an event and sign up people, so that's one way. Or they may go do DAT, which is our DAT team is getting out to the fires like that. They may help out office work. The cool thing with the Red Cross is there's roles for everyone, and then you can also wear different hats. You can do someone that installs smoke detectors, or you may go work on our DR, which we have going on. So yeah, I'll pass out a couple more business cards
Okay.
too. So
Do you want to set up a table at our Scarecrow thing?
when is it?
October 26th.
Okay, I could look into it.
Yeah, look into it.
Yeah, and then I can give out some information too when we get out there for doing smoke detectors.
Okay.
And I know we've helped out in the past with the floods. A couple people. We
Yep.
do have cleanup kits. We have a bunch ready to go just in case. So that's something I know we came out here and we kind of surveyed the area and see what was going on. So that's something that we did. Unfortunately, we had a lot of experience with that in May with the fires with the floods in Wayne County. So we got that along the lines of that. But yeah, I would definitely be interested in getting some volunteers out there. So
Good. Any questions?
Oh, good presentation.
Yeah, thank
okay,
you very much.
thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
A lot of good info.
Yeah, thanks for everything you guys do.
All right. Good evening. Chief's report for September 2019. I attended 3 meetings for the month. I know my report says 2, but I forgot to add one. I did the St. Clair County Chiefs Association. I also attended the Harsons Island St. Clair Flats Homeowners Association meeting. And I also attended a seminar for the MTA, which is Emergency Services. Provided a lot of good information. It was very, very good seminar to go to. I would like to go to it again, but not next year, but maybe 2 years from now to get information. It was really good. Fire department assisted the Algonac Lions. We filled their water barrels for the turkey shoot. The fire department participated in 2 parades for that month. The Pete Hinkle boat parade, and we also did the Lions Club parade. Firefighter Association had their annual pancake breakfast on the island, which turned out real well. The island residents was a good turnout. And the fire department's also doing all the standbys at the football games here when they're home. And we had a static display at the Sturgeon Fest. So it turned out real well. We also received some correspondence from FEMA on our grant for the ventilation system. The material that we sent them met their needs. So we got a passing grade. So,
Busy.
yep. September was a busy month.
Any questions for Chief?
Nice job, Chief.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along, under unfinished business, we have the OHM agreement between OHM and IRA, and Steve's here. Steve, can you just give us a quick synopsis? You know, I kind of have a pretty good grasp on what's going on, but everybody else really, give us a summary of what's going on in the agreement.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for having me here tonight. Just a brief kind of background of how we got here today.
And I'm sorry,
Yep.
introduce yourself
Sure.
and your position.
So my name is Steve Siklich. I'm a project manager with OHM Advisors. For those of you who don't know who OHM Advisors is, we are a engineering, architectural, and planning firm. We have over 500 employees in 3 states, so Michigan, Tennessee, Ohio. I work out of the Auburn Hills office is our closest location here. And I've been doing this for about 17, going on 18 years. So we've assembled a team here to kind of help us with what we proposed on this particular project. And just a little background, I'm not sure how much information you guys do have on this, but for the last couple of months and maybe even longer, there's been a work group that was established between Clay, Ira, and St. Clair County to kind of investigate this interceptor system, which is the main, feed in this area for all, sanitary flow down to the treatment plant. So that system is comprised of approximately 22,000 feet of 27 to 30-inch reinforced concrete pipe, 12,000 feet of 16-inch force main, and there's 3 lift stations and obviously a pump station at the force main. So some preliminary investigations earlier this year kind of uncovered about 1,000 feet of pipe that was experiencing some high levels of corrosion, where the actual reinforcement in the pipe was visible. So there was some concrete wall loss, there was a lot of debris inside the pipe. And so that's when this work group went out and said, hey, we need to look at this a little bit further here. We know we have some problems we have to fix, and, we want to put a plan together to address that. So what OHM came in and did is kind of put together a plan to tackle that. Obviously, step one is what are the problems, what are the extent of those problems, and what's the best fix for those problems. So there's obviously environmental concerns, in the area. There's some marshland, a lot of bodies of water. M29 is a 2-lane road, so obviously traffic is of concern. So what we wanted to do, and just to kind of put into perspective, 22,000 feet of 27, 30-inch pipe. If you were to line that pipe, you're looking at just budget figures, not looking at any variables. You're looking at, $5 to $7 million, maybe even plus. So that's a lot of money to stomach just to blanket say, I'm going to go and repair this without really knowing what I have. So our plan is to put some robots in the sewer with some specialized sensors on there to take measurements of that pipe. So we're going to measure diameter. We're going to measure gas inside the sewer that's actually causing the corrosive environment. We're going to take flow measurements, and we're going to take debris measurements, all with unmanned, robots. And really, those are the largest variables that we're looking for when you come down to figuring out rehab and price. You have size, so as that pipe is eaten away year after year, size increases, cost gets bigger. You have accessibility, so when you have structures that are in the middle of, a marsh or a body of water, it's hard to get to them. Obviously, you don't want to go in and just start digging in the middle of a body of water. So you have accessibility is an issue, debris, and then infiltration, and finally, bypassing flow. There's a lot of residences, there's a lot of businesses that are connected to the sewer. Each one of those, to prevent backup, you have to account for that flow when you're doing any type of investigation or repair. So we want to look at all those things kind of together. We want to really first identify what assets are there, what condition those assets are in, and then using kind of our own deterioration forecasting and, some of our technical expertise, we would propose to you what the solution is to fix this pipe going forward. And that way you can kind of best plan, the monies you're spending. You're not just kind of blindly throwing money at fixing a pipe. You really don't know what you have. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the gist of the project. This is kind of phase one. We want to understand what the condition is and what the best approach is to fixing this. It may be multiple things that we have to do to fix this in the most economical fashion. And then obviously, step two, you would get into where you would actually design those improvements and actually start performing, that work. So I'm not sure if that helps shed a little bit of light. And I missed, and obviously I missed another important task too that I want to make sure at least I cover. A lot of things that doesn't, one thing that doesn't get done often enough is tackling the root cause of odor and corrosion. So when you line a pipe, when you replace a pipe, if you don't fix what's coming into that pipe or address it, you're going to just push that problem elsewhere, whether it's downstream to the plant or it's into the local, neighboring connections. So one of the phases that we also put in this plan was to do some wastewater sampling. It actually takes some tests of the concrete, of the wastewater, and actually look at how you can effectively correct those problems, whether it be through ventilation treatment, maybe some chemical treatment. So there's a number of things that can be done once you understand kind of the properties of that wastewater. So that's another thing that we wanted to make sure we included is when you do fix this problem, that you actually address the root cause of the problem, and not just cover it up. So that's kind of the rundown of this project, and I definitely want to make sure that, if there are any questions, that certainly I'm here to help you walk through it.
And just to refresh your guys' memory, their total estimate is $312,000. And even though this pipe's running through, and this is phase one, is the gravity-fed part of the sewer interceptor, basically goes from Bluebill to the wastewater treatment plant along M29. And even though it's in the township, but it's half owned by, or half serviced by IRA, so we're splitting the cost 50-50. So our portion of it will be $156,000. The other part is basically along the Dyke Road of this. That's a force main, and that is probably about 95% owned by IRA or services IRA. So whatever happens there, we'd probably be responsible for 4 or 5%. And if anything needs to be done there, IRA's got to figure out if they want to expand their capacity, if the capacity is the same, if they're going to even fix it. They got other questions that they have to figure out themselves. This $156,000, it really wasn't budgeted for. But good news is our SAW grant is funded, and we'll probably have money available. Did you know that?
I knew there was a SAW grant.
Yeah,
I didn't know what was available.
Yeah,
For
and
funding.
they said our funds will start being available in December. I would guess that, and it's $1 million grant we got for our sewer system. A lot of this would probably be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, a lot of this would probably be available under our SAW grant.
Yeah, basically anything that's not physical construction activity would
Right.
be eligible.
For engineering and design, all that stuff. But in the short, and then what we do, whatever we end up doing with this down the road, it's gonna be bonded out. We're gonna have to float a bond for the sewer department and get bonded out. Ultimately, the balance, if it's worth it, we can get this $156,000 put back or refunded by the bond. We can't do a bond right now for 150 grand when we don't even, have a project defined yet. You gotta get a couple, $3 million to float a bond. And so I was talking to John about it and everything. How we're gonna fund this is temporarily, if the money's not available in the sewer fund, either the water department or the general fund, it would come back to the board, can give them a short-term loan for the money. And when we either get it back through the SAW grant or the bonding process, we, make where we take the money from whole again. But yeah, this is gonna be a big project. And we interviewed, I think, 5 engineering companies between Ira, St. Clair County, and ourselves. And unanimously, out of the 5, we picked OHM just because of their root cause analysis. And, you know, this is caused a lot of it by sewer gas, and we want to take care of it, because if the gas isn't coming out of the pipe, it's going to end up at the sewer plant. Ultimately, it would cost us some money, so. And I mentioned to you before, there's question on who actually owns this interceptor and the lift stations. I believe the county is all on board. Yeah, the lift station is theirs. We were always under the impression that the interceptor was owned by the county. We have paperwork that basically says it is, and they're there to maintain it. We're not looking for, you know, oh, they didn't maintain it right or anything like that. We just want to know, you know, who owns it, and going forward, who's going to maintain it. And I myself personally would like the county to remain as it makes sense. You know, you got a lift station here and a lift station here owned by the county, and the pipe between it should be owned by the county. But if not, I mean, I brought up questions, you know, is there insurance on this thing? You know, what if there's a problem and it causes a big sinkhole like in Macomb County and everything? I mean, okay, I was assuming the county had that handled, and they're assuming not, so that's a question that we have to hammer out. And also, there's really not, the operating agreement between Elginak, Clay, and Ira is very defined, loosely defined at best for the wastewater treatment plant. I'd like to have that reviewed and gone over, and just so everyone's clear, what's defined, how, you know, what's expected from each of the communities. So, I know I got a little off tangent, but that's on that. But as far as the agreement, I gave it to our legal counsel that's going to be handling this, Chris Patterson. He did find, I know Ira's attorney blessed it. He did find 2 or 3 things which was addressed that he'd like to see on that. And so I'm recommending that we go ahead and sign the agreement between Ira, us, and OHM. Basically, what we'll do for the draws, we'll put in $156,000 in, and Ira will put in $156,000 in. We'll put it in a separate bank account. And as OHM wants to do a draw, we'll meet with Ira, OHM, and Clay, and okay, you know, have whatever it is, the criteria. Okay, they can do this draw, and then we'll cut them a check. So, is that how you?
From a contractual perspective, Clay Township is the point on this.
Yes, yeah,
And then
we're the
You have an
point.
agreement, right, with Ira to.
Right, we're the
reimburse
point.
them, yep.
But as far as the cutting the, you know, keeping track of the money and everything, that's basically how we're going to do it.
Steve, have you proposed a draw schedule yet?
No, nothing, obviously, you know, getting this approved and kind of setting up the initial field visit kickoff is the first step, but whatever timeline you guys are on, you know, normally we submit invoices on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
On a monthly basis?
I know you guys are ready to start rock and roll on this, right?
We're ready
Yesterday.
before everything, you know, freezes over and
Yep.
What was the last municipality you did a similar project for?
this size, so I've done several. Actually, you mentioned a sinkhole, so in a certain capacity, I was involved in that one and investigating some of the other sewers over there. I've done.
Over there, meaning Fraser?
Yes, in Fraser and surrounding Macomb County, so Sterling Heights, Shelby Township, Macomb Township. And there's probably maybe over 100 communities that I've done similar work for, over 500 miles of sanitary sewer investigation rehab in the 17 years I've been doing it. So mostly in southeast Michigan. I just did one in Orion a few months back, so in Orion Township, that's in Oakland County. But yeah, I've done a number of these on a yearly basis for quite some time.
Yeah, actually, 3 weeks ago, I had lunch with Candace Miller.
Oh, did you?
Pretty good, and she spoke highly of OHM, so.
Yeah, things are, I'm sure, better now than
Yeah.
they have been in the past, yeah.
So on page 4 of your agreement under compensation, you have, the MSI inspection for Red Zone Robotics at $183,000. But the proposal from Red Zone that's included with what we have is only $159,000.
Yep. So there is a standard 15% subconsultant markup that we apply to all subconsultants we use. That's to do, administrative tasks, scheduling. Obviously we have to pay them, so we're on the hook for their invoicing. And, obviously from a risk standpoint, if there is a problem, a camera gets stuck, there's a backup, OHM's gonna get dragged into that, issue with Red Zone. So that's kind of our, just fee for doing the work through OHM. Obviously, there is an option there that you could contract with them direct, and there would be no, markup on those services. But, put that through OHM, there's some liability, some administrative stuff we have to do, so that's what that 15% is.
So in your previous municipality arrangements, can you give me a percentage on municipalities that choose to hire this Red Line Direct?
Yeah, there's been, percentage-wise,
Just shoot from the hip.
maybe 50-50. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of miles. It all depends on municipality. I think the last one. Yeah, a lot, it depends on availability, staffing, correct, and just payment of those services. So this one here, it didn't go out for, a bid through a municipality per se. It was proposed by us direct. I think the last one I did was City of Ann Arbor, where Ann Arbor hired Red Zone directly. That contract value was a little bit higher on their end. There were some bonding requirements. Here they're kind of being carried with our insurance. They have their insurance as well, but they're protected under our insurance. So 50-50, it all depends. I mean, there's been, we represent over 60 communities in Southeast Michigan, and if I had to guess, 50-50 on who's used Red Zone Direct. And
Can you give us brief pros and cons?
of Red Zone,
Yeah, whether we hire
Or
direct
of hiring direct?
Go through you. I understand the markup.
for me, I'd rather you hire them.
You will. And why would
Because
that be?
then I don't get those phone calls of, hey, are you gonna pay my bill? I don't have to pay, the penalties, I don't have to oversee them work, and quite frankly, I don't have to protect them in a lawsuit should something happen. There's more risk for them doing the work since they're actually entering the sewer. Me as a design professional, I'm kind of taking on some liability by having a contractor work under me.
Gotcha.
That's a good question, though.
Is the 15% your standard markup for a subcontractor?
It is, and type of work, size of work, obviously, also impacts that. We do make some, exceptions here and there when you have very large, subcontract agreements. You put, 15% on a couple million. That's a huge fee that obviously we're not doing, work. In this case, it's, I think, less than 15,000 or right around 15,000. And there is a lot of administrative work that on our end that we have to do to make sure they get paid and just to carry that insurance for them.
Gotcha.
I think too, if we did Red Line Direct, they would probably have to get additional insurance, which would drive their costs up, or our costs up, with Red Line going direct.
Yeah, I forget the exact number that they put in here. I think it was maybe around $7 a foot. Typical prices for them are in the $8 to $10 range per foot. So because they don't have to do that additional, administrative and insurance on their end, there was a little bit of a break there on the cost per foot.
So they give the break because they're working for you? instead
They
of
don't,
working for
yeah,
us
they don't
direct?
have to pay, prevailing wage, so like increase wages for their workers, because they're working for us, they're not working for, a government contractor,
Yeah.
and those kind of things. Mhm.
Okay, I get it.
You win. Knock her awful quiet.
I'm just taking it all in.
It's a lot to take in, and the goal here is that, we don't end up with the worst case scenario, which is everything has to be fixed. That's what we're trying to do, is throw enough tools and enough, eyes at this that we can really narrow down what the proper fix is. And maybe some of this stuff can be deferred, over time and not all immediate. So obviously we want to prepare for the worst, but after we get in there and get some eyes on the pipe, we'll be able to tell you exactly what kind of action plan, you'd be looking at for addressing whatever's wrong.
Any more questions for Steve, or does that someone wanna?
What's your timing, or what is this, the timing on all of this?
Yes.
So we had, initially, we had planned on starting in September. Obviously, we're in kind of mid-October right now, but we planned on wrapping everything up by February from the inspection standpoint, and that is including our odor and corrosion analysis, including the engineering analysis and some preliminary design recommendations and cost estimates. So I think February, maybe March is still a good target to wrap all this up.
The winter months going to affect you?
They shouldn't, unless there's a lot of snow and we can't get into the sewer. But one of the benefits of this particular company is we can do long reaches with minimal access. So we can actually cover, 5 to 10,000 feet, as opposed to traditional, maybe it's only 1,500 feet, so.
Correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the field work will probably be in October and November.
I'll get a crew out there within the next 2 weeks and start doing some of the field investigation work to locate all these access structures and really narrow in on that game plan.
I'm sorry, Ira already approved this agreement?
They are tonight, it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was prior to this or
Oh,
also
no,
tonight,
they
but
already did.
I thought it
I'm
was
sorry.
I thought it was
I am
last.
sorry. They already did. They had a special meeting which we were at and they approved it. Yep.
So, reaching out towards the big picture with the county, by us signing this agreement, taking this on with Ira Township, this is in no way, shape, or form an admission of responsibility for this pipe.
Right.
It can't be construed as such.
Right, that was the
Is
big,
that what our council
yeah, that was the
states?
big question I had for the council, and he was okay with it. That's why, if you recall, we had a agreement between us, Ira, and the county, where there was admission, okay, you guys own it now. And that raised a flag, and, we turned it over to our council, and they said, yeah, you don't wanna do that. Let's figure all this stuff out, but at the same time, we gotta get this project going, because there could be some big issues under there we don't know about. And so, he was okay with this. We're not admitting or denying any ownership or responsibilities, and it's not going to,
Affect any of our future
Right.
decisions or actions?
right, exactly.
But this is only for phase one.
Phase, yes,
Right.
yep,
Okay. That was an important one for me.
yep. Oh, yeah, that was the biggie, actually.
What's your experience in, as Artie mentioned earlier, about insurance for something like this to happen?
I'd say mine's probably limited. I know it does exist. I don't know what it actually covers. We do have some risk managers that do focus more on that line of work at our company that I can certainly reach out to and try to get a better answer.
Would that be worthwhile?
I contacted our Nickel and Sapphire Insurance Company for our general liability. I asked them, if we have this, if we own it, going through our township, what's, how much is that added liability gonna put on our bottom line? He said, well, it was a rough guess, but it'd probably be around $1,000 a year, for coverage. It was just one of those questions I had, so.
I'd like to see, for $1,000, I'd like to see what it covers. It seems
Well,
kinda
we
low to
don't,
me.
there's no reason to see, I'm not gonna have to give a quote when we don't know we own it. So,
Good.
any more questions for Steve?
Board, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Clay and Ira Interceptor scope and engineering services performed by OHM in the amount of $312,000, 50% of which at $156,000 to be paid by Clay Township, 50% of which to be paid by Ira Township, derived from some kind of agreed draw schedule.
Motion and support. Any more discussion?
Can we vote for Ira? I mean,
No, they've voted already to.
Oh, they already voted?
Yeah, so they're waiting for us
Yeah.
to approve it.
And we actually tweaked it a little more since then.
okay.
And the point man for the project's gonna be John DeBoyer. So. All right, we have motion and support. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Sandy Kufelt?
Yes.
Krista Regan?
Yes.
Christie Hilton?
Yes.
All right, thanks for coming, Steve.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to helping.
All right.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, under new business, we have to set our Halloween hours. Proposed is Thursday, October 31st, 2019, starting at 5 PM and finishing at 8 PM.
I'll make a motion to set Clay Township Halloween hours for Thursday, October 31st, 2019, from 5 PM to 8 PM.
Support.
Have motion and support, any discussion? I know Elginak only goes to 7 PM, but I think Halloween's fun, so they should be able to do it another hour. All in favor of Halloween from 5 PM to 8 PM, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Get your trick or treat candy ready. I have a work order for St. Clair County Road Commission for some ditching on Peters Road for just under $3,000. I know that we've been looking at doing this one for probably about 3 years. And quite honestly, I know there's a lot of other ditching projects that we'd like to do, but the road commission is so backed up that we'll be lucky if we get this one done. So, anyone would like to entertain a motion? And a lot of this is paid for by our match that we have sitting and waiting for the road commission. They will pay the first $10,000 on this, so if we don't use it, we lose it type thing.
So you're saying our portion is 2932?
Yep. Yep, it's a $13,000 job or just under that. And it's a pretty big project. It will end up costing us $2,932.
That's an estimate.
Yeah, it's an estimate.
Usually I believe their estimates are high as
Yes.
well. Usually comes in lower, which is nice for change.
Yep.
So I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I don't know nothing about the ditching project on Peters Road. On this priority scale, is this at the top of the scale, this Peters Road project?
Yeah, it is, and it's been put off. I mean, basically, the water in the ditch is running the wrong way.
Okay.
And I don't know, I know we talked about it with the road commission for about 3-4 years, and, you know, they just didn't get to it yet.
And if we only did one this year, this is the one you would recommend?
Yep. And Mike, our local guy. Yeah, when you have a ditch and the water's running the wrong way, there's a definite problem.
Board, I'll make a motion that we support the St. Clair County Road Commission ditching project in the amount of $2,932.
Support.
Okay, motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
2,900?
Contract.
Contract. Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Chris Regan?
Yes.
Kristi Hilton?
Yes.
Artie Bryson?
Yes. Okay, next, we got a couple MERS resolutions we have to pass, or we should pass. First is amendment to our defined benefit program for Group 10. All the other benefits, well, what we do, we have a 60-day probation period for a new employee. And for some reason, on Group 10, that was never passed. And so basically, this resolution is basically saying for Group 10, there's a 60-day probation period before their contributions start.
Make a motion to approve the defined benefit plan adoption agreement to reflect the 60-day probation.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Chris Regan?
Yes.
Kristi Hilton?
Yes.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes.
Okay, our next MERS resolution is to adoption of our defined contribution plan. What?
There's part of this agreement,
Yes, the signers.
the resolution authorized signatories. It's a separate resolution.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they want us to present them a resolution that we pass this. So do you want me to do that separately, or you want to amend that?
Let's do it separately.
Okay. Well, I motion to pass the resolution establishing the authorized signatories for MERS contracts and service credit purchase approvals. So we're listing our signatory authorized official is Artie Bryson. I do have optional job positions that we can list.
Want to put treasurer and clerk?
If that pleases the board.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
that'd be great. Thank you.
Go for it.
All right, is that a motion?
It is. Yep, that was my motion.
All right.
Support.
Do we have support?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion to, for the MERS authorized signatures as the supervisor and additional job positions would be treasurer and clerk for MERS. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Chris Regan?
Yes.
Kristi Hilton?
Yes.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine? Yes. Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
I was waiting for myself to say it.
All right, next we have our defined contribution plan adoption agreement or resolution. This is what we negotiated in our, in all our union groups. And so all new hires from July 1 on will be in a defined contribution as opposed to a defined benefit.
This is now part of all of our union agreements,
Yep.
correct? I'll
Yes,
Make
it is.
make a motion to approve the MERS defined contribution plan adoption agreement, moving all new hire employees into a defined contribution plan in lieu of a defined benefit plan.
Support.
Okay, motion and support, and since our new police officers that we hired are gonna be in this here really quick. Need to get her done. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sandy Kufel?
Yes.
Chris Regan?
Yes.
Kristi Hilton?
Yes.
Artie Bryson?
Yes.
Cindy Valentine, yes. Joanne Shirkey?
Yes.
Mark Bouchard?
Yes.
There is also a resolution adopting the MERS defined contribution plan.
one and the same?
No, the one's we approved the agreement, this is the resolution
Oh.
approving the agreement, so, yeah, 4B.
4B.
Make a motion to approve the resolution adopting the MERS defined contribution plan?
Support.
Any discussion, since we agreed on the agreement? We'll agree to the plan. Hearing none, all in, or roll call, please.
Krista Regan,
Yes.
Christy Hilton,
Yes.
Artie Bryson,
Yes,
Cindy Valentine, yes, Joanne Shirkey.
Yes.
Mark Bouchard.
Yes.
Sandy Kupel.
Yes.
and we'll probably be doing a couple more resolutions, closing the old plans. For doing anything with MERS, they want a resolution, so. And we are still looking in, of floating the bond and getting them funded too. So, been doing a lot of work on that. All right, next, we have accept a donation of $30,000. I'm gonna read the letter. This is actually from the Barbara McKelvey Living Trust, who actually, she lived on the island, was a pretty good friend of mine. Yeah, she was a real good friend, my whole family's. And her mother was Helen Slocum, who also was a longtime island resident and a good friend. And basically, on the behalf of the accordance to the Barbara McKelvey Living Trust, please be advised that a donation of $30,000 has been designated towards the Harson's Island Fire Station, $15,000, and the kayak launch project by the Schoolhouse Grill of $15,000. Our grandmother, Helen Slocum, purchased a cottage built in 1881 and located at 8500 South Channel Drive in the 1950s. Her children, grandchildren, extended family, friends all enjoyed the island for close to 70 years. She was an important part of the island history. Oh boy, was she ever. Through boat hauling business, boat transit company during World War II. Her company basically moved all the boats from Chris Craft all over the country. During World War II, when Chris Craft plant manufactured military vessels for the U.S. Navy and Army, in a business world of men only, she was truly extraordinary and highly respected by all businessmen. Our mother, Helen Slocum's daughter, Barbara McKelvey, spent time on the island since her early 20s, lived in the cottage for the last 30 years of her life. She passed away December 17th. An accomplished sailor who knew every inch of Lake St. Clair and the waters surrounding Harson's Island. Our mother also loved Chris Craft wooden boats, taking part of the wooden boat parades. She was caretaker of all animals whose paths she crossed, especially turtles, and took interest in the island's environmental health and wildlife preservation issues. As previously discussed on April 3rd, I had a discussion with her what she wanted to see in remembrance of her family. As previously discussed in April 3rd, your suggestion to donate some of this money for a new flagpole at the Harson's Island Fire Station would truly honor my mother. She has always had her flags flying at the cottage. We also would be grateful for placement of a memorial plaque at the base of this flagpole in their memory also. Also, I am in the process of catalog all the cottage documents and will send you photos of our grandmother and her boat hauling to use, and if you decide to paint murals on the building. She wanted to give something to the fire station because George took really good care of his mother the last year of her life. And Barbara and both Helen Slocum, they cared about wildlife and nature and the history of the island. And she thought it'd be really cool if we could paint a couple murals on the fire hall you know, it's kind of historic, like she was thinking maybe a picture of the Taj Mahal with her mom's little blue sailboat sailing in it and doing something else to instill some pride and everything in the fire department. So, going on, any remainder of the 15,000 towards the fire department be purchased life-saving equipment and supplies. Secondly, we would like half the donation go towards environmental issues and wildlife preservation. The kayak launch project behind the schoolhouse grill is a great idea. We would like to support this endeavor and are interested in hearing your suggestions. And what I told them that we're going to do a nature trail in this, and we could probably name, if the board agrees, name her, name the trail after her mom's name. She was a very naturalist and cared about wildlife a lot. And then also, I thought it'd be cool, Helen, there's a little, it's hard for us to rename roads and certain things, but their family cottage, it's goes over Bedford Highway. And I talked to the County Road Commission. Any problem was us naming a bridge? And they said no. And I think it would be cool to name it the Helen Slocum Bridge. In fact, that'd be kind of cool. I was thinking about that. You know, another one would be up further is
Slocum, yeah.
for John Upmall. He was an icon there. Maybe we can do Upmall's Bridge or something down the road. But yeah, they said go ahead and do that if you want. And she, when I was talking to her about the idea, she was in tears. So it's pretty cool. Anyhow, it's up to us to accept the donation, $30,000.
I'll make a motion to accept the $30,000 donation from Tressa, is it
McKelvey.
McKelvey?
Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have Police Department, new hire full-time dispatcher, Stephen Matthews. Chief, want to tell us about Stephen?
Well, Stephen is someone that was a coworker of one of our officers, this is a position he was looking to try to get into. Like I said there, he does currently work as a EMT at this time. He is very familiar with radio systems, paging systems, everything that's got to do with what entailed in the job. We are looking to fill this position. The good thing is, I mean, we had some people send some resumes in that looked really good and didn't have to advertise out for it. I think everything that we've looked at so far, we've been conducting background investigation on Mr. Matthews, and everything so far looks pretty good. We're going to be wrapping that up here hopefully throughout this week. I don't foresee any problems here at all, so trying to get ahead of things so we can get training started.
How did that position become vacant?
We had a resignation of one of our dispatchers,
Who was that?
Hunter Valentine.
You think we get him on board sometime? He's working, we can go meet him sometime?
Yeah, anytime.
I know it's short notice.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
couldn't have him here today.
No, we'll make a point of it.
When's he gonna-
Absolutely.
When's he gonna start?
Well, as soon as we finish conducting the background investigation, so should get that finished up this week, and so I plan on getting them started this next
I
week.
can't remember, they have to be sworn in?
Yeah,
Dispatchers?
don't we swear at everybody?
They don't have to be, but yes, we do swear them in.
More formal.
I'll make a motion that we hire full-time dispatcher Stephen Matthews, effective after he completes the background checks.
I'll support that.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, that completes our agenda. Board member comments. Cindy, you have anything for us?
Sure. Well, I want to thank Tressa for thinking of our fire department, because I think it was not too long ago that you and I had a conversation that back in the day, that's how the township got involved in so many projects. People would leave, bequeath to the township
Right.
for special projects and parks, and nobody seems to do that anymore, and then lo and behold, this shows up. So I think that is very awesome. I appreciate them thinking of us, and we're definitely going to put it to good use. Excited to see what we can do with it in the new kayak launch that we're gonna build over there. I'd also like to keep it on the board's radar, that these soil removal permits need to be addressed. We need to take a look at those. I'm not necessarily in agreement with how we've been doing them. There's been some conflicting things.
It needs to be, yes.
It needs to be looked
Yes,
at,
yes.
and before we know it, it's gonna be time to throw them up in front of the board again, so. That, and I would like to see us, now that things are kind of winding down in the summer, do some workshops for, maybe this upcoming sewer project, so that as a board, we have a full understanding of what could be to come. And maybe some discussion on this MERS, transitioning over to our defined contribution, what to expect.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, I'll repeat what Cindy said. Just a comment on the OHM. I think, to me, it's one of the biggest issues facing the township. And I think we got the right staff in place to oversee this project, John and whoever else may jump in there as well. I'd like to congratulate Stephen Matthews, wherever he may be.
Joanne?
It was very interesting meeting this evening. Learned a lot, found out lots of things that we need to take care of that are very important. And as Cindy put it too, to make good use of the $30,000, put it to good use. And also, same thing, get with that soil removal.
I
thing. We
actually
need to
had
do something about that.
another Islander approach me that they may want to get get one again. So,
Yep, that would be good.
yep,
I just think the process is old and cumbersome.
yep, it
and
is.
Doesn't adequately reflect what we're looking for to get out of it,
It could
so.
be a 5 years thing too,
Yep.
instead of every year. Sandy?
Well, just when you lose faith in some of humanity, a nice letter from the McKelvey family comes in. So that was my highlight of the night. I think that is spectacular that someone would think of a township and be memorialized like that. That is,
Yep.
that's, makes you feel good.
Does.
You would have had to know Helen Slocum.
I wanna,
my-
well, now I wanna know all about her. That letter alone
Unique
was
lady.
pretty,
Yep.
insightful.
Yep.
Looking forward to the Scarecrow Fest and seeing how our first responders display all of their shenanigans. Good luck.
Good luck to everybody.
That's it.
Thinking the DPW may even sneak up on you guys this year.
Uh-oh. Up in the stakes? Look at them all look at each other.
Hey, I just wanted to say that fall is here, winter is coming. It's time to take care of your home, your property. It's the time to trim the trees away from your house. If you're a sprayer, it's time to spray for insects, spray for spiders. You should really be checking out your roof system right now. Make sure that you don't have any loose shingles, nothing raised. Make sure your ventilation system's in place. And also monitor your exterior hose bibs. Make sure they're functional, non-dripping, and shut them off inside if you've got a plan to do so. Don't veer for deer. That's all I got.
Mow them down and call us. Good job, Chris, thanks. And if someone needs all that done, call Chris.
Write that down so I can.
No, I will regurgitate what
His
I
number is
said.
1-800. Chrissy?
I want to report on what I believe to be a successful summer tax collection. It was encouraging to see that so many people were able to pay their taxes. I feel like we're ahead of where we were last year, and I think that's good news. And then this morning, I read our latest MTA insights, and I'm disappointed to read that there were 147 line item vetoes, some at the 11th hour, that basically put a burden on the townships. And
Yep.
I'm disappointed, and I hope that they make amends in November.
I agree, 100%. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to mention a couple things. Congrats to our new dispatcher. We have a lot of new businesses popping up too. In fact, I was trying to schedule a couple red ribbons for some of them, and I haven't gotten any dates yet. And, but I count 5 in our whole community between us and Elginak.
great.
Which is awesome. And, yes, Helen, you know, I can remember way back as a little kid, and with Helen Slocum, she was tough but fun and generous and a very unique woman. And she, you know, like I said, they transported all the boats around the country for Chris Craft, and when they were making the landing crafts for World War II, you know, she got them all over to be, you know, to be shipped over to England, and then Barbara too. They're very unique, and yeah, it's heartfelt that, you know, they thought of us. And that being said, because I kind of let the word out, yeah, we're going to do a few things, and so their names around, and I've been approached by 1, maybe 2 other people who would like to see their family name around too, and
Yep.
are willing to ante up something. So that will be, you know, interesting to see. And again, Governor, please sign the damn letter. We need it, yeah, like 2 months ago. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Support. All in favor, ayes. Aye. Thanks for coming, everybody.